Hey there, amazing English learners! Welcome back to English Mastery Podcast. I'm Vey, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today. You know what I love most about teaching English? Those magical moments when students discover phrases that make them sound incredibly natural and fluent. Today, we're diving into some absolutely essential expressions that native speakers use constantly in everyday conversations. And trust me, once you master these, people will think you've been speaking English your whole life. Haha, I'm so excited to share these with you. We're focusing on phrases that help you express approximate numbers, general opinions, and talk about daily activities in the most natural way possible. These aren't textbook expressions. These are the real phrases that make conversations flow smoothly and naturally. We've got our fantastic 4-step method ready. Immersive listening practice, powerful vocabulary building, interactive speaking challenges, and transformative shadowing techniques. So grab your notebook, get comfortable, and let's discover the secret phrases that will take your English to the next level. Are you ready to sound more like a native speaker? Perfect. Let's dive straight into part 1, our natural conversation listening practice. Now, here's something really important about today's listening experience. You're going to hear a conversation that's incredibly common. Someone asking about school, commute, and daily routines. But what makes this special is how the speakers use these beautiful, natural expressions to sound relaxed and conversational. Instead of focusing on every single word, I want you to notice the rhythm and flow of how they speak. Pay attention to how they give approximate answers rather than exact details, and how they express general opinions without being too specific. This is exactly how native speakers actually communicate in real life. We're flexible, approximate, and naturally conversational. Ready? Here's a wonderfully realistic discussion about school life. So tell me, how far away is your university from your apartment? Well, it's roughly 8 miles, more or less. Not too much of a trek, honestly. That sounds pretty reasonable. Are you enjoying your time there so far? Generally speaking, absolutely. The professors are really engaging, and my classmates are incredibly supportive. That's wonderful to hear. What time do your morning lectures typically begin? They start at 9:15 a.m. sharp. I usually catch the subway to get there. How long does your subway commute usually take you? About 25 minutes, more or less. Sometimes longer if there are delays or construction. I understand completely. Generally speaking, it sounds like you found a really solid academic situation. Yeah, it truly is. I feel very fortunate to be there. Now we're stepping into part 2, vocabulary that will revolutionize your natural English speaking. This is where we explore those incredible expressions from our conversation and make them completely part of your active vocabulary. I'm not going to give you boring textbook definitions. We're going to understand how native speakers actually use these phrases in real conversations. These expressions are absolute gold for sounding natural and confident in English. More or less. This is our way of saying approximately or roughly when we don't want to be too precise. For example, the meeting lasted 2 hours, more or less. Or, I spend $50 on groceries weekly, more or less. You might also say there were 100 people at the party, more or less. The project will take 3 weeks, more or less. I exercise 4 times a week, more or less. Generally speaking, This beautiful phrase means in most cases or as a general rule when talking about overall situations. Like, generally speaking, I prefer tea over coffee. Or, generally speaking, students perform better with consistent study habits. Also, generally speaking, the weather here is quite mild. Generally speaking, online shopping is more convenient. Generally speaking, early morning flights are cheaper. Trek. This means a journey or trip, especially one that requires some effort or distance. Examples: the daily trek to work takes 45 minutes. Or, it's quite a trek to the grocery store from here. You can say, the trek up the mountain was exhausting. I don't mind the trek to visit my parents. That's too much of a trek for just a quick coffee. Sharp. When talking about time, this means exactly at that time, very precisely. Like, the meeting starts at 3:00 p.m. sharp, or be there at noon sharp. Don't be late. Also, class begins at 8:30 sharp every morning. Time for part 3, our targeted speaking practice that builds real conversational confidence. I'm going to ask you questions that focus on the most important aspects of our conversation. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's building your ability to respond naturally and confidently in English. Answer each question out loud and don't worry about making mistakes. Every time you speak, you're strengthening those English-speaking muscles. What did the person ask about the university location? They asked how far away the university was from the apartment. How did the student describe the distance? They said it was roughly 8 miles, more or less. Did the student think the distance was too far? No, they said it wasn't too much of a trek and that it sounded reasonable. How did the student feel about their university experience overall? Generally speaking, they absolutely loved it and felt very fortunate. What specifically did they like about their university? They mentioned the professors were engaging and the classmates were supportive. What time do the morning lectures start? The lectures start at 9:15 a.m. sharp. How does the student get to university? They catch the subway to get there. How long does the subway ride typically take? About 25 minutes, more or less, sometimes longer with delays. What can affect the commute time? Delays and construction can make the trip longer. How did the questioner summarize the student's situation? They said, generally speaking, it sounded like a really solid academic situation. Finally, here comes part 4, our powerful shadowing practice. This technique will help you develop that natural rhythm and flow of native English speakers. Listen carefully and repeat everything immediately, focusing on matching not just the words, but the relaxed conversational tone. Notice how the speakers use these expressions naturally and effortlessly. Don't stress about perfection. Focus on capturing the natural music of English conversation. So tell me, how far away is your university from your apartment? Well, it's roughly 8 miles, more or less. Not too much of a trek, honestly. That sounds pretty reasonable. Are you enjoying your time there so far? Generally speaking, absolutely. The professors are really engaging. That's wonderful to hear. What time do your lectures typically begin? They start at 9:15 a.m. sharp. I usually catch the subway to get there. How long does your subway commute usually take you? About 25 minutes, more or less. Sometimes longer if there are delays. Generally speaking, it sounds like you found a really solid academic situation. Yeah, it truly is. I feel very fortunate to be there. What an absolutely fantastic practice session you just completed. I am so impressed by your dedication to mastering these natural English expressions. You know what's amazing? These phrases, more or less. The accent makes you feel very confident. I understand. What's important? The R key keeps going. These phrases are perfect for using English Generally speaking, sharp and trek are going to make such a huge difference in how natural and fluent you sound in everyday conversations. Native speakers use these expressions constantly, and now you have them in your toolkit too. I strongly encourage you to practice using these phrases in your daily English conversations. Try describing your own commute, your opinions about school or work, and your daily schedule using these natural expressions. Remember, the key to sounding like a native speaker isn't perfect grammar. It's using the same natural phrases and expressions that native speakers use every day. You're making incredible progress on your English journey. And I'm so proud to be part of your success story. Keep practicing these expressions. Keep building your confidence. And remember, every conversation is an opportunity to use your new skills. Until our next English adventure together, keep speaking naturally and keep shining, my wonderful English learners.